Hi everyone, Jackie here. So I'm looking forward to meeting you next week for our first class, even though it's going to be online for now. I trust that soon we'll be able to meet each other in person. They're saying it's going to be in a couple of weeks, but who knows what will happen. But I am looking forward to meeting you either way, and then we'll have eventually at some unknown time an in-person meeting as well, and so that'll be another fun thing. So I wanted to, I like to connect with students before classes actually start. Some of you might be, leave me alone. I don't want to do anything until the week classes start. That's legit. That's fine. The information's there for you. If you choose to kind of wait until next week to look at any of this, that is fine. You will have time. Some people do like to kind of, maybe you're feeling anxious and you want to get to know a bit more about the course before next week. So the information's there. Some of you I've seen have started to explore things as well. So here I'm just providing you with kind of a list in order of priority of things that you can do to prepare. And definitely the top two, even if you don't want to really do too much before classes actually start, I would encourage you to do the top two things in advance. Okay, so the first thing that I recommend you do, if you haven't already, I know some of you have, thank you very much, is to enroll in our Moodle course. Now, as it says on Leia, some of you looked at it and we'll go check that out together in a moment, is that we will use Moodle for most things. I will be using Omnivox for the gradebook because the gradebook on Moodle sucks. It's very unclear and confusing both for teachers and probably students as well. So the Omnivox gradebook is great. At least partly because you get a notification every time I input a grade, and I'm very meticulous about uploading grades throughout the semester. If you've had me as a teacher before, you know that. So I put things in immediately as soon as they're marked. So you'll be able to track your average over the course of the semester. And like I said, Omnivox sends you a notification. So when there's a new mark, you'll see it. Okay, you won't have to go look for it. Um, so there is a document, I'm attaching it to the Mayo that I'm sending you this message in, and it's also on Leia, so you can, if you want to see how to self-enroll, so here I am on Leia for our course documents and videos. I'm not sure if this is what it looks like from the student point of view. That's the problem. What I've had with Leia is that they don't give us the same view as students for a lot of things, whereas Moodle does actually allow me to go in and test things from a student point of view. So if you haven't used Moodle before and you're like, oh, not another platform, I get it. It's overwhelming, but it's my first time using Moodle, but so far I really like it for a few reasons. And well, we can talk about those reasons when we're together. But one of them is that I can see things, how things look like from student points of view. And it helps me kind of organize things in a way that is hopefully intuitive. Um, Here's a link to the Moodle site. So when you click on that, it'll take you to your dashboard. If you've already logged into Moodle at some point, and if you haven't, it'll take you to the login page. You won't have any courses yet if you haven't self-enrolled in anything, but once you self-enroll, every time you go to your dashboard, it'll be your courses will be listed there. So I encourage you to kind of bookmark this page here. So here you have a document. Again, it's attached to the Mayo, but if you lose track of the Mayo, it's also here, how to join the Moodle course. If you already know how Moodle works and you've been on there before, you'll need the enrollment key. It's Indigenous with a capital I, and it's in the document here. And if you haven't done this before, it's fairly, I didn't create those instructions. It was created by somebody who works in our pedagogical support office. So, and there's a video as well that talks you through it. So have a look at that. And if nothing else, at least self-enroll in the Moodle course. Now, one thing that's important to know is that if you haven't yet activated and accessed your Office 365 account that comes free from Vanier for all Vanier students, you're going to need that. So when you get this message, if nothing else, if you don't want to sign up for the Moodle course, at the very least, please have a look at those instructions and activate your Office 365 account. Again, it's free. It gives you a student email, and it is required to sign up for the Moodle course. And it's those of you who have teachers who use Teams, you need it for that anyways. And for a lot of Vanier related things, they ask you to use your student email. So, if nothing else, please do that as soon as possible because I'm not sure how time consuming that is. I don't know if it's instantaneous or if you're going to have to wait 24 hours or something like that to get access. And if you wait until the last minute to do it, then that'll delay your access to Moodle. Okay, so then you can, after that, you'll be able to self enroll in the Moodle course. And if that's all you want to do, fine. The other thing I do recommend, though, that you do as soon as possible is to get your textbooks. Now, because we're online for the first couple of semester, I imagine that Jake's is going back to making shipping an option, so you can look at that when you go. We have two textbooks for this course, and I really enjoy them, and I hope that you will too. The first one we're going to use for the first 5, 6 weeks of the semester is called And Grandma Said Iroquois Teachings is Passed Down Through the Oral Tradition by Tom Sagogwenyogwa Porter. I'm probably not saying that correctly because Geha is not my language. Um, so that's the first one. And if you want to get both, if you also want to get Dancing on Our Turtle's Back, we're going to use that as of about week 6. You can go ahead, but if you're budgeting and you don't want to get both at the same time, start with the first one. You can follow this link here to find what textbooks you need for all your courses in case you didn't know. When you click here, it will take you to this page here, which at the top you select your semester and then it gives you with your schedule, with your course codes, you can click all your courses and then click go and it'll give you a list of everything, right? So the course code for ours, depending on if you're here as a social science student or from another program, you'll have one of these codes. So either one, it's the same list of books anyway, and it'll give you access for how to order these books. So I would do at least get the first one as soon as possible. Now, one of the things you're going to learn about in the coming week is you're going to be looking at Moodle, and in Moodle there's a quote unquote book. It's not an ebook, it's something that just opens up in Moodle, and there's one entitled About the Course, and chapter 1.2 is about the textbook. So there's information there on financial access. So if money is tight, if you have to choose between eating and buying a book, please eat. Okay. There is a book loan program. There's information about that. I'm also, once we're in person, or even now, you do have access to the campus for some things. I put a copy of each of our textbooks on reserve in the library. So that means you can go to the counter and ask for the book. And in the Moodle documentation, it actually gives you the call number as well. And they'll let you use it for 2 hours in the library. So you can make photocopies if you want, or just read it there. These are easy reads. They're not super theoretical. So I don't want anybody to have to choose between eating and buying a book for my courses. Okay, so that's this. So these two things, enrolling in Moodle, or at the very least, accessing your Office 365 account and getting the first textbook. These are things I strongly suggest everybody do. Now, if you like to be extra prepared and you're like me, you're kind of on the anxious side and you want to know what you're getting into, there's a document attached to this Myo, but also here in Leia. Go back to Leia here, a million tabs open, getting around Moodle. And there's also a video here that accompanies the document. Again, if you're one of these folks who like to have audio input or you want to be shown things rather than just read about them, it kind of shows you just how I organized the course in Moodle. Okay, it's a quick tour. And then again, those of you who would like to get prepared in advance, there is a small assignment for the first week, but please don't panic. I'll be lenient for timing, okay? So if you want to be prepared before Wednesday, you can go ahead and do this. If not, if you want to wait, I will and I'll explain more about this later. I'll use the first 30 minutes of class time during our first meeting to help students, get around Moodle, but also look at the things. So you'll have a little bit of time at the beginning of class. If you've already done all this, you've done steps 1 to 4 before Wednesday, you can just show up at 9:30 on Wednesday and sleep in an extra half hour. But if you want to wait until Wednesday and just show up at 9 and take the time, take that half hour to do this stuff, because the assignment itself won't take very long. It's just designed to get you to look at the documents I put together about the course, stuff from the course outline, things like that. So don't stress too much about it, but if you want to sleep an extra half hour on Wednesday, you can go ahead and get this done. And it shouldn't take you very long. So, and yeah, for the first week, I'm lenient about timing in terms of, submitting stuff. And it's just, and this will give you kind of, you're going to see when you look at this stuff that there are weekly learning activities, 10 out of the 15 weeks. You're going to be, and sometimes there are going to be bigger assignments due. When there are bigger assignments due, you won't have this to do. I mean, it's all explained, right? So, and if you miss the first one, there's going to be a makeup week, right? But the first one helps you actually get to learn about the course and some of the stuff we're going to do in class at the end of class as well. So it's you can look at how that's all broken up. So that's getting ready for week 11. There's a document again attached to this Mayo called Messages about Assignments and Week 1 Activities, and it's also in Leia in the course information section, messages about assignments in week 1, same document. And there are 2 videos in there, but if you're more, again, you're more of a verbal person, there's a video here that talks about the assignments in general. And one that's specifically about week 1. They're not super long, and these links are also in the document. So the information is all in the document, but for, again, people who like to see, there are videos available. And the other thing that I would ask people to do, and it doesn't have to be before class, this can be anytime before the end of the month, as soon as possible is great. But once you get onto our Moodle course, you will see that at the very top, there's a student questionnaire. And this is just questions so that I can get to know you a little bit, what any possible access needs, what you'd like me to call you, any concerns that you have, things that are going on that might interfere with your ability to do things in this course within a certain time frame, things like that. So this is confidential. What that means, contrary to anonymous, I will know who wrote what. It's not anonymous. I will know who wrote what, but it's confidential in the sense that I'm the only one who will have access to your responses. So if you're worried about writing on there because you're worried that all your peers will see, they won't. This is different, say, from later on down in week 1, the week 1 section for our course, you'll see that there's an introductions form, right? And that's so people can get to know each other, and it's optional, but I do hope that people will post something there that's fun, get to know each other, be working together for a semester. But the student questionnaire, that's confidential. So that's more between you and and I will respond to any concerns that are brought up in there. And I'll reach out if there's anything that you express that needs to be discussed. And the last 2 things I want to say is just, I will have virtual office hours as I will all every Monday. So once you look at the documentation, you'll see that I have regularly scheduled office hours. My Zoom room will be open. Even when we're back in person, I tend to have my Zoom room open in case, you're not on campus at that time, but you still want to talk to me. You can just drop into the Zoom room. So that's Monday. I'm going to start these office hours on Monday, even though students rarely come on the first week, but I'll be there. So if you want to prepare for Wednesday's class, for example, but you're having trouble with some of the stuff, you can just drop in. You can reach out to me by mail, obviously. And like I said earlier, I'll devote the first 30 minutes of class time for our first meeting on Wednesday, January 19th, to help students learn to get around Moodle and to give you time to start the week 1 activities. So, just show up at 9 o'clock at regular class time Wednesday if you want to use that time. with some support. And if you're already done by then, you can just show up at 9:30 and sleep in a little bit. So that's pretty much it. If you're wondering why I'm wearing just this random weird hat when when we're online, I like to just wear silly hats and I kind of switch them up either for classes. Well, sometimes when it's an actual class, I don't because I get too hot. But for these short videos, I like to do that just to, I don't know, just to be weird and I don't know. There's no real logical reason for some of the things that I do, and you'll get used to that. If you've had a class with me before, then you already know that about me. And I encourage you to be your weird and awesome selves as well. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to meeting you, even though it's going to be just online at first. We'll do the best that we can, have respect and compassion for each other. That's all we can do at any time. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll see you on Wednesday.